Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Velocity Sellers podcast. I am your host, Velocity Pete, and today I am joined by Ramiro Velasco, and I'm excited to talk to him about a similar topic that we had another guest on for. Funny enough, him and Ramiro are mortal enemies, as Ramiro would describe. I think Mike would have a different different interpretation. But we actually had another guest, Mike Begg. Ramiro is actually Mike's partner in Go Advance. And I'm excited to talk to Ramiro more about another really, again, important topic, one that I think gets overlooked a lot by the Amazon and really in general the e-commerce community, and that is selling in Amazon Mexico. So Ramiro, thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us about Amazon Mexico.
Pete, thank you so much for having me. I mean, right off the bat, I'm going to say thank you for throwing Mike under the bus. This is, my favorite thing to do publicly.
Mike was a great guest. I'm actually thinking about now, as you say this, I think it'd be a great, fun 3-person episode to have you both on, maybe for, maybe in January or in one of the coming dates. So I think that would be a fun little, just interesting episode to have there.
I think we're down. Yeah. I think I'll speak for him and say yes, we're down. But no, thank you so much for having me. I'm ready to talk about just about anything. Pete and I had a little bit of screen time, and then I think you realized that I cannot physically shut up. So listen, you're gonna have to keep me on track. My
favorite kind of guest.
But I'm really excited to hang out.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you on. I love someone that can talk, because I can talk a lot too, and it's nice to be the listener, every now and then. So yeah, and I'm excited to learn more about too. I know, like I said, we had this episode with Mike and we talked a little bit about the basics, but I'm interested to hear your side, kind of what it takes to really be an Amazon Mexico seller. And just more about what's required. And again, like I said, I think this is a overlooked area for e-commerce people. I think they see maybe the different paperwork and the tax requirements and the regulations and all that stuff, and they might not want to do it. But I'd love to hear more about the opportunity of selling in Mexico and kind of why that this should be something this should be like sort of your next step in growing the business. So
listen, I was lucky enough to have a really strange background. I was born in Mexico, and then when I was about 2.5 years old, I got yoinked out of the country by my dad's job, and we kind of lived all over the place. It was 10 countries over the span of nearly 20 years of sort of just being away, right? So there was some US in there was some Latin America, like El Salvador, Colombia, but there was also like the UK, and then there was like Indonesia. Like, it's a really eclectic background. When I came back to Mexico, after, in 2012, already ordering my toilet paper on Amazon, like basically just depending on Jeff Bezos, I come back after uni, after, some internships and so on. I come back and it's so weird to me that no one's buying on Amazon. No one is, like there's still this distrust, not only of like, what if you get scammed? What if it's a fake product? But there's also, does it get to your house? There's, and how do you pay for it sort of questions still happening. And so it was so strange to me to come back and see this sort of like market gap where it's like, I literally just spent, the past 10 years buying online. What's going on? So I come back with my engineering degree. I don't want an engineering job because I'm absolutely not that. And I meet Mike Begg. I applied for a job at his company. And he hires me, obviously, because, I'm incredible. And and after, working for him for a couple of years, we sort of, by pure happenstance, realized sort of the size of this opportunity. And we launched this new business where we are basically just trying to populate the Mexican market because of everything that we see happening over the next years. Now, that's just a little bit of background so I can talk a little about Mexico. What you have in Mexico is a rapidly digitized economy. So up until even 5 years ago, we were by and large cash-based.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing general metrics like in the past 5 years, credit card adoption is up 225%. And, there's like these sort of like interesting bits that it's like we're removing barriers to entry. I think even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Mercado Libre, who was here, sort of had a stronger presence than Amazon from the beginning, realized these roadblocks, and they were like, all right, let's implement sort of some support. Let's implement pay at your local corner shop for your products. Let's implement Mercado Pago, by which, we're helping you get your money digitized. Like, they started implementing a lot of solutions. So what we're seeing right now is all that hard work that someone else did pay off, right? We're having a little bit more trust, or actually rapidly increasing more trust in digital platforms. We're having an economy that's slowly being digitized, and we're having all these like geopolitical things happen. Like COVID happened, and then nearshoring became a thing. Remote work is becoming a thing, to the point where we see this growing middle class of people with disposable income looking at products on TikTok that they can't buy, or that they have to wait, a week for and pay $15 in delivery fees for, that just don't make sense. So we're looking at this not even so much as like a direct Amazon play or a direct e-commerce business, but rather like macroeconomically, what are sellers doing not selling in Mexico?
Yeah.
Sure, it's going to be 10% of your revenue, but 10% bump, I take that every single time of my life if I don't have to do anything for it.
I mean, if you're a big company and you can increase, that's an extra, sometimes it's maybe an extra $1 million a year if you're a, big enough company. And even if you're not, I mean, like you said, it's 10% of your revenue. So, if you're making $100,000, an extra $10,000 in your pocket, I'll take that every day of the week. So
every day of the week. And then when you add to that, like only 11% of all retail on Amazon, actually, it's like, this is a reported number. I'm sure it's infinitely lower because of how gray our economy is. But the reported number is 11% of retail is being done through e-commerce platforms. I don't believe that number. I believe it's much lower because you're not tracking everything that I'm buying with cash at the local market, or whatever, so it's a considerably lower percentage, at least in my eyes. But anyway, even at that 11%, when you start establishing, like, if you use e-commerce as a way to proxy start having a presence, and we're living this, the next step is, hey, retail is knocking on your door going, hey, can you please come in? Because you've built that demand. So now we're talking about access to 123 million people just in Mexico, right? Call it another 260 in Brazil. And it's like, okay, it starts becoming no longer can I make money in the first 3 months, but rather, can I get in?
Yeah, and
right?
I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of stuff we talked about with Mike was a lot of regulations, especially for things like the big companies like supplements is super hard to get into. Obviously, anything with chemicals is going to have a problem on Amazon because you got a million different compliance things to be compliant with, I guess. But I'd love to hear more about that too, and I think that's where you were going. So I'd love to hear more about just really the barriers to entry, and kind of, can these companies, can they get in?
Yeah, totally. Here's what I'll say: selling in Mexico sucks.
Really promoting here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it sucks. And I when I'm talking about sort of like what you want Mexico to be, or like what the market looks like, I think it's not that the upside isn't there. I think that the investment is a little too high. To get through regulations, to set up your business entity, there's so much bureaucracy that happens. To figure out your importing partner, your freight forwarder, you know what? Every single person has a different response, like a different answer. Hey, can I sell this? Yes. And then the next guy, no. And you go, excuse me, what do I need to import? This document. Hey, I got it. Oh, I was wrong. You need this document. Like, it's a nightmare. Like, you're running in circles a lot. So what happens is a time investment. It does not even know the money. The time investment to get into country doesn't make sense for a lot of brands.
Okay.
The opportunity cost of, I know that $1 that I put into Amazon gets me this much out, is so much easier to quantify than, hey, I spent 40 hours over the past month trying to figure this out and I got nowhere. So yes, I want to answer these questions right now, live on air.
Let's do it.
To this, what you need to sell in Mexico is a local business entity. Right off the bat, I'm going into this assuming that you know what remote fulfillment is, and assume that you know that it sucks for consumers. So we're barring the remote fulfillment option, the global selling options on Mercado Libre. You need a local business entity with a registered tax ID. That is because legally in countries, someone has to own the product, and that will never, ever be Amazon. If anyone's listening that sells from abroad into US Amazon, you'll know the exact same thing. Amazon goes, I do not own this product. Don't even try to pawn it off on me. And it makes sense,
They
right?
don't want the
So
liability and whatnot. I don't blame them too
exactly.
much. So it
Like
it makes sense.
if I'm packing, like if I have like mugs, but I have drugs inside of them and the box is closed, like Amazon would be insane to take that risk, right? So why would they? So you need a legal business entity in country to own the product. Difference is, unlike in the US and Mexico, it's very rare that your importer on record will be open to owning your product because we have some, let's call it illicit activities consistently happening, right?
Yes, sir.
That maybe the risk reward is in there to just saying, yeah, I'll spot you and hold your product. So, okay, I have my business entity. Well, do you sell a supplement? Do you sell a topical? Do you sell any sort of beauty product, cosmetic, anything that might even remotely be FDA regulated? In Mexico, we have what's called COFEPRIS. COFEPRIS will be required for the importing and for the selling on platforms. Amazon, Mercado Libre is consistently checking the products you're putting up, and they go, hey, can you show us your permit that says supplements? We actually ran into this where we were like, oh, this is a supplement. And they go, no, this is a herbal supplement. It's different.
Different forms. Oh gosh.
Gotta go back and, reapply and redo all this stuff. So already it's a nightmare. Then what happens is they go, sure, file. Well, first of all, you need a legal representative in the country. You need to file your taxes every single month. Accountants in Mexico are super overpriced. I had a meeting with someone where they were like, can you run my business entity for me? Like if I make one. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, it's going to be $1,500 a month for accounting. And they're like, that's insane. You're trying to scam me. And I went, that's what we pay. And they went, then you're getting scammed. So we chopped around and it was just universal. It's like, no, listen, it's just an added cost that's going to exist. Yeah. So it was a really funny experience. You have the accounting, you have the business entity, you have the permits. Now you need freight forwarding and importing. You need to work with a registered customs broker in both the US and in Mexico that are checking your product because you're going to have to label it. By the way, you have to have compliant labels. And yeah, are you running your own production run? Are you over labeling? That's something you really got to figure out based on volume. But anyway, say you have it. Okay, now you're bringing it in. Then you have your usual FBA stuff. Your warehousing, your
Shipping,
FBA
packing, all that. Yeah.
Your shipping, your packing. Also in Mexico, because of this trust issue, there's an expectation for customer service to be handled within 24 hours, but ideally within 2 to 3 hours to customer questions on Mercado Libre.
Wow.
So that is already adding and by the way, you do get penalized. Like the way Mercado Libre works, it's like your reputation as a seller actually has a huge weight on your organic ranking as opposed to Amazon, where the ASIN itself holds the ranking. Which means, are you answering a little bit slowly? Well, I'll see you on page 2, my guy. And boop.
Wow.
So there's a huge emphasis on things like this. Yeah. And then, hey, we got it all running. Make sure that you are writing your SEO in Mexican Spanish. Make sure you have your images in Mexican Spanish, because if I'm going in here and I'm saying like a Spain Spanish word, it's going to lower my conversion. And we see this consistently. It sounds like it's a little thing, but it's not. So, a lot of barriers. It's not that fun, but you know what? It's really nice once you're set up to just.
I was going to say, a big point, and I hate to keep bringing your arch nemesis back up, but a great point Mike made was that there's a very high barrier to entry. It's really hard. Like you just explained all that for us here. It's very, very hard to actually become a legitimate and actually sell product in Mexico. But because of that, and because not a lot of these companies and maybe not a lot of your competitors have the time or the capital or just the resources or the care to do it, that means there's probably more of a less saturated market than there is in the US, because it's so easy to sell in the US, easier at least, that there's less competitors over there in Mexico. So you stand to make a lot of money there if you can get in.
Yeah, literally. I think it's happened a couple of times where we've brought in brands that were doing under 5 sales a month. Now that a lot of these front end readers, your Jungle Scouts, your Heliums, your Zangus, they'll pull an estimate, and then when it's under 5 a month, like you just get like a rent. So, functionally zero. And literally by just putting them in country, we raise the prices. But just being in country and offering next day delivery, we're like, hey, we're like rank 10 on the front page with like within the first month. Like this is so easy. And then you like doing your job and it starts going up. And a lot of time it's products that you wouldn't have expected to even do volume. But it just so happens that consumers were actually looking for it.
I believe it.
Right. So there is a huge void in supply for consumers, because we're looking at products that either we can't buy or it doesn't make sense to buy with the wait times and the import fees and so on. Anything over $50, if I'm buying through NARF, I have to pay import fees on top of the shipping. So it's like you see the ticket price, you click it, and it's like $25, $30 higher.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I just buy your competitor, or I just walked over to retail and bought it.
Yeah, went in person, which.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know a lot about what Mike talked about. Speaking of kind of like in person versus e-commerce sales, I know a lot about. A lot of what we talked about was just the growing economy in Mexico, and you mentioned it too, like about how it was before. It was all cash based, now it's a lot more just credit cards and online sales. Have you seen in the last couple of years here a really giant shift towards e-commerce in Mexico? Has that been like a really more important aspect of buying?
Yeah. There's this guy that I really like, this economist guy, huge trader. I can't remember his name, Gary something. I keep forgetting his name. He wrote The Trading Game. And he says that he was trying to figure out the economy in like his second year of trading or whatever. He's like, I'm looking at economic whatever, looking at books. And his older mentor guy just went, what are you talking about? That's not the economy. Go talk to your mom. Go talk to your friends. What are they doing? Like, that's a better read on the economy. That's something that I've really taken to heart recently. And I'm noticing these indicators more and more that are so interesting. I work out of a big office building here in Guadalajara. And every single year, there's just been more and more Amazon packages waiting at reception, to the point where there's like now like this whole square blocked off with just mostly delivery packages, most of which are Amazon. And now they just go dig through the pile, where before they would just fit behind the desk, right? And this is sort of what we're seeing in a very micro scale. Like that's a microcosm of the market in general. As younger people get purchasing power, get credit cards, they're coming in already trusting Amazon, already trusting Mercado Libre, and that's probably the number one bump that we're going to see, because older people, what they're doing is they're going out to their nephews, their kids, their whatever, and going, hey, can you buy this on Amazon for me? Can you check if it's online? We're like 10 years late to the party. So we're still in that stage where it's like, I don't have an Amazon account. Like my dad will call me and be like, hey, can you check the TVs on Amazon? And I'll go in and I'll be like, yeah, it's this price. Oh my God, can you order it to my house? And actually can you order it to your house? And I'll come pick it up.
They don't want it. They don't want their address
because
in there.
I don't trust that. Exactly. Yeah. We saw the shift happen in the US.
Yeah.
We lived it. Well, I didn't live there, but I saw it from afar.
I can attest. Yeah.
There you go. That's where we're at right now.
Okay. Wow.
So it's really exciting to see, to just be looking into the future.
And as like the next generation comes up, and like you said, they've already got an idea of, what Amazon is about, and that they're not going to be scammed. So as they start, like you said, as they start to come up and get jobs, they make money and have this money to shop on Amazon. I think we're going to see it can only go up, which is normally
it can. Yes.
You ask an economist like, oh, like is the market going to go up? And they'll always say yes, because that's just what it is. Over time, you look at it from like a far enough away period of time, and of course it's going to go up. So like maybe Amazon Mexico had less sales in 2021 than it did in 2020 or something like that. But over time, it's always going to go up. It's always going to increase.
It's always going to go up. And right now we're probably on our fourth year. I can't remember the exact stats, but 2023 was, I think, the third consecutive year of like not high double, but like double digit growth. Like in the, I believe like a little bit under 20 right before, it was a little bit over 20. Like we're seeing huge jumps because I mean we're talking compounded, right? At some point, and I think it's with a lot of our clients, it's like we don't even like we're obviously working, but it's like we just have to be here. Like 80%, I'm a huge believer in the idea that 80% of life is just showing up,
Yep. Just
right? Like,
making an appearance.
yeah, you want to go to the gym? Listen, 80% of the hard part is getting like in your car. Like that is the toughest part. Um, just show up, just be in, just sell in Mexico. Just start there and then optimize. I just had a call this morning where we're like, oh my God, we're actually like seeing results. We were a little bit delayed in the results, but we're seeing the results. And it's like, yeah, the hard part was getting you in. And now the we call it I guess it's picking rocks in English. I'm not sure. Like that's just the constant little improvements time over time. But we've already done the hard part of being here to see the results. So
It's like you said, it's getting over that high
um
barrier is really just
yeah.
the hardest part. Just being
Yeah.
able to even get to showing up, and then from there it's money.
Yeah.
From what
Yeah.
I've heard from
God,
you, from
showing
what I
up is
heard
so
from Mike,
hard.
it's just all very, like I said, it's getting over that barrier to entry.
Yeah. Oh my God. As and listen, I've been postponing getting back into the gym for a month
So
now.
that was a personal example.
It was a personal thing. Like just show
I
up.
get that. No, I get that. I get that very very heavily. We've been doing here a fun little challenge. I think it's a TikTok thing. I don't know where she found it from. My girlfriend is we're doing this soft 75, which is like for 75 days. You've heard of this?
I've heard of the hard 75.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't imagine soft is very easy.
soft, it's not as bad. It's really just about getting, doing these habits for 75 days in a row to sort of have them built into your life moving forward. And the soft 75 is a little bit easier because I think the hard 75 is like you do two 60-minute or two 45-minute exercises a day, which, sometimes we get in general, but we only do one 60-minute exercise. We try and do an outdoor activity, whether that be a walk or just, sitting outside or doing something outdoors. Um, this is my least favorite one, but we wake up at 6:30 every day, which is I don't like to sleep in too late, but there are days when I'm like I want to be in bed until at least maybe like 7:30, 8,
Yeah.
like on the
Yes.
weekends or something like that. So that one's the worst.
That one
But
sucks.
we have to drink like 2 things of water a day, and I'm a chronic water drinker, and I know my Philadelphia accent's coming out there. I drink a lot of water. But it's been a lot of fun doing those different challenges. And I completely forget where we were going with this, but
Oh, I know,
showing
but I
up,
think this is a yeah,
showing
showing
up.
up. Showing up is so
Day
hard.
one
For me
was
it's
kind of hard getting into it, and it was kind of fun. But then day 2, 3, 4, and 5 were difficult, and keeping it going. We're on day, I want to say like 15 maybe today. I think 15
oh.
sounds right. So we're over 2 weeks in. And it's starting to feel natural. Like it's starting to feel like if I don't do, like one of my things is I do 150 push-ups every day, and if I get to like,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I break them into sets of like 30 or 25 if I'm feeling lazy. But if I've been like 2 sets away and it's already like 9:30 and I'm like getting ready for bed and I'm like, oh, I just got to do it, just got to do it. It feels like wrong of me to almost to not do it or like to even feel like I want to skip it. So I feel like that's the benefit of it. So
Literally, like I think this getting into this mindset of like I don't want to fail
yeah,
myself is so
yeah.
good. And that's what I was with the gym. Like I was going 6 days a week, like nonstop, like and now I just keep failing myself. So I
It's
just
just
gotta
about
get
showing
back.
up, like you
But yeah,
said, just
showing
about
up.
showing up.
We gotta
And to
show
relate
up.
this, of course,
Just show up.
back to the topic, it's all about, like, do you want to take that next step for your business? Are you ready to show up and say, we've done really well in the U.S. There's always room for improvement, but we've established ourselves in the U.S. Or if you're in Canada, we've established ourselves in Canada or wherever you are. We've established ourselves here. Realistically, what's next? Do we sit here and coast? Do we want to invest and take the time and the resources to enter into these markets that we haven't tapped into yet? And all this to say that, some products maybe don't work super well in Mexico. I have no doubt that some products are in Amazon Mexico that probably really wouldn't work well in the US. And it's all about understanding the market and, like you said, showing up, doing your due diligence, and just really getting at if this is the right choice. And if it is, from there, it's like you said, it's all about showing up. We're gonna put that on a pillow. I'm sure it's on there somewhere, but we'll
It's
have
a
to put your our logos on it and send it over to Mike and my boss Jake. That'd be fun. But yeah, no, I love it. I love hearing about, like I said, these opportunities that, again, I really think this is overlooked. I really think people get scared away by the tax stuff and getting trademarked and getting brand registry set up in Mexico and all the different stuff that's very specific to it. But it really is just an opportunity based on, again, what I've heard from other people, and then also what I've heard from you, Ramiro, and really from Mike. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm very patriotic in a positive way. It's not, like I think Americans do a really good job at their patriotism. When like getting excited for 4th of July is so
yes, love a good
nice. Like
grill, love a good grilling
so.
session, or love a good bald eagle. I love the founding fathers. I don't know, the American things.
Yeah, like I
Baseball.
got Thomas Jefferson tattooed
There
on
you go.
my back,
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, no, I mean I didn't, but no. So we just went through Mexican Independence Day yesterday,
Yes.
and that was really fun. But I'm just a champion for legitimizing the Mexican market and being like, dude, like there's so much happening. The Mexico and the U.S. are each other's number one trading partner.
Mhm.
That's kind of
Yeah.
like Mexico overtook China again, like during the pandemic, and we're sort of just working off, like still raising that. Um, and to me, it's just like I almost feel like I'm doing something good for the country by getting excited about it. That's it. Like by getting excited because so much sentiment. And I think Americans will relate to this. So much sentiment recently is, the country sucks. Like everyone doesn't matter. This is apolitical, like 100%. Like everyone's sort of sitting there going, the country sucks. And this is the same thing that happens in Mexico, where we keep feeling like, oh, things are so bad this year, and then the things were worse than last year. And what are you talking about, dude? Like look around. Like things are nice. Like let's get excited over our like little spot again, and let's just do best by it. So I don't know. That's
I love
yeah.
it. No, I'm with you too. I feel like people sometimes want to be doom and gloom for just for the purpose of
Yes.
being doom and gloom, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
life to be happy about, and if you let the negative things take over, then you're not going to be happy.
Exactly.
That's just simple as that. So
Exactly. Like I have my knees on my shoulders. What you think I'm gonna be thinking about? Like,
yeah,
oh, the GDP is, dude. Look around. Things,
it, it's very simple
uh,
cliche, but be happy. It's
yeah,
life is worth living in this day and
yeah,
age, and we live in a time where it's anybody can be anything they want, and it's like you can pursue any kind of business dream that you have and stuff like that to keep it on the Amazon spectrum, but you could sell realistically, you could make any kind of business that you want, you could design any kind of product that makes sense in the market, and
yeah,
there's a lot to be happy about in this day and age, and
yeah.
I think that, again, some people just like to be, maybe they just like to be sad, or they think they like to be sad, so they put
I
themselves
think
in.
I think it just your fear makes people money. So like keep that in mind. Like everything that happens on like your clicks are valuable. Your eyeballs are valuable. So the more riled up you are, the more
On
you're
Twitter or on
sellable, right?
something,
On
yeah.
yeah.
I always
So
said I
it's
wanted
like
to be the Joe Rogan of the Amazon world, so I feel like we're getting into that,
there
which
you
is
go.
great. I that
There
was
you
always
go.
my goal with this podcast when they hired me. I was like, I'm gonna be the Joe Rogan. I'm gonna talk to every cool person I can. I'm gonna learn as much as I can, and maybe a little craziness here and there,
Yeah.
and maybe a little maybe a little like thinking, future thinking, maybe a little conspiracy theories. But in any case, this is, like I said, it's just a lot to be happy about. So,
Yeah.
and kind of,
Yeah.
I
So
really,
that's me.
on that kind of topic, I'd love to hear more about what is. I know we talked a little about how U.S. I know we talked a lot about how Amazon Mexico is growing year over year. I'd
Yeah.
love to hear what you think is in the store for the rest of the year into quarter four and also in 2025. Like what's next for Amazon Mexico?
So I'm really excited. This is gonna be very, very niche. This is like for actual Amazon sellers. We have a lot of Rufus and Cosmo sort of talk happening about like, oh, the AI searches and all this stuff, right? I don't know when it's coming to Mexico, but what I'll say is, it looks to me like we're gonna just skip over the keyword phase for searching, because like the whole thing with like intent based searches that you people much smarter than me are talking about. And I've just like sort of I've just listened to other people talk about it. But the idea is like, hey, if I'm looking for, warm jacket, then it'll show you. If I type winter clothes, sorry, it'll show me a warm jacket without my listing having to look clunky and say great for winter clothes or whatever, right? So I think the fact that this is coming into Mexico, well, I'm assuming that it'll be rolled out worldwide. There's a lot of ifs in this. If it does get rolled out worldwide, we might see the boom of Mexican shoppers without the ingrained search sort of habits that your US shopper would have, because they have to be so specific with. So I think that's going to help speed up adoption massively, because what would happen then is, hey, it's actually much easier for me to find what I'm looking for. So if my grandma can go in and misspell and write like, I don't know, sewing needle, and then like it shows up, I think it's just gonna. My grandma's not going to. She's 84, but I think that's gonna help speed up the process massively, and it's gonna make AI copywriting a little bit make more sense, because then you can restrict it, keep keywords away, whatever. Like that's fine, but also just ease the user experience and help that transition from retail to online, which is so exciting to me. Like if we get access to this in 2025, oh my, I'm going to be the happiest person on earth, because I hate keyword copywriting. Like you have no idea.
I didn't even think about the whole idea of kind of a global rollout for Rufus. Obviously, of course, I thought they were bringing it to everywhere on Amazon, but I didn't think of the different, like you mentioned, some different implications that having this tool in a place different than the US, where everything is very much, sometimes who has the cheapest product, who has the most reviews, compared to a marketplace like Mexico, where it's not so much of, all these competitors looking. It's really just kind of, like you said, it's not as many people there. So what are you going to be doing with that Rufus if you're not trying to, fight for the number one spot on there? And, it's easier to get that.
And I'm hoping, obviously I haven't gotten a chance to play with it, like it's still very slowly, whatever. But I'm hoping that if we're moving into intent-based shopping, I would assume that we're actually going into conversion being the most important thing, right? And conversion, for sure, price plays a factor. But if I'm going to pay 20, 30% higher, but I see that it's a good product from the reviews, if I don't have that fear of like, if this sucks because it's like super cheap made, then I'm going to have to buy another one. If that starts happening, it helps us justify higher price points in country.
Yeah.
Which would be massive, because we're not coming in. Like if you just do private label, we don't work with you because your manufacturer is probably already selling here. It's just like a big, like, hey man, listen, I would love to sell your product, but here's
the issue,
right?
Yeah.
Like yeah. So, but if we can then go for the higher price point, like the quality stuff, and the algorithm is going to help us get there, like that would be massive.
Yeah.
So a lot of ifs here, but that is, I think, where I'm seeing 2025 go. 2024, obviously, we're going to have our Buen Fin, and then we're obviously going to have Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Then we're going to have your, Amazon year by year gets better for your shopper here because there's more options. So if I never have to go to a super packed mall to get my Christmas presents, I'm doing all of the shopping online. But yeah, 2025, hopefully, if all these things come, like if we get these algorithms in, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, no, you brought up a great point. Again, I really I've never thought about Rufus in different countries and how they would operate, because not every marketplace is like the US. As you know, if you are a international seller, so it's very interesting to see. I'm excited to see just how it plays out, because I'm excited by Rufus. I don't know if you.
I'm so excited.
Every time it comes up, I have to ask this: do you know why it's called Rufus?
I actually read I can't remember, but I read the
story.
Thing.
So
what is it?
It is, and everyone that watches the episodes consistently is sick of me saying this, but I love this fact. Rufus is the name of a former Amazon office dog. He was a little corgi, and that's why it's like a picture of like a corgi face. And Rufus was the one who would actually, whenever they had a new program or a new technology launch that was launched by a click like Go Ahead, they would have Rufus take his paw and actually click on the mouse and have it he would be the start of it. So it was very cute story.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, that's so good. I did not know that. That's
it's a very cute
incredible.
story. As someone who is a dog lover,
Oh my
especially a
gosh.
corgi fan, I think that is a very interesting choice for Amazon.
That's
I
oh
think
my god.
it's a great choice. I think it's a very cute story for them to
It
name it
actually
after
makes
him.
me so sad. I get so sad about things like
Yeah,
this where it's like, man, Rufus won't know
yeah,
how much he meant.
yeah,
Like, but that's so
yeah. I
cute.
say the same thing. I've got my former dog here. I can't really turn it towards
Oh, that's so
the
yeah, I can see
camera,
that.
but
Yeah, that's so nice.
yeah, no, I think it's pets make a very impactful uh, impact, I guess, on our lives. So
Yeah. I'm a cat dad and they're
I
both
saw him walking
walking on the
across.
desk
Yeah, I thought
right
that was
now. Yeah.
great.
Oh, you
Yeah,
saw them? Oh my.
that's great. I was like, should I mention it? Should I bring it up?
Uh,
No, but yeah,
yeah,
no,
I love
it's
them.
very interesting to think about Rufus in other countries. I think about maybe even in the EU, like you mentioned the UK, you live there. Thinking about how Rufus would affect it, stuff over there. How would it affect it in pan EU? Just how would it affect it in Japan? How would it affect it in now they're going to Ireland in 2025? So it's a lot of things that I might have to start asking some guests about that if we do an international marketplace episode of how do you think Rufus is going to affect your country's search results and search concepts.
I've been such an advocate for years now. Even wrongly, probably because it was too early, but I've been saying, dude, if you're paying for ads, what you care most about is converting, which makes Amazon a more traditional marketing tool than it was, 8 years ago, which was keyword and algorithm. It's like, come on, let's be clever about this. Say I already landed on your page because I clicked on your ad. What's going to make me buy? Let's look at it this way, right? So this coming in to me is so exciting because it's like this is going to help my style of Amazon optimization, right? Whereas like I don't want to look at my keyword optimization numbers. I hate that.
I
I have this.
am sick of it as
Yeah.
well. I hate to say it, Amazon, but I think you need to roll Rufus out a little bit quicker because we have, and I say this as someone who's a little biased because I've been stressing and I've been pushing content and bullet point optimization, not just for keywords, but also just for like tell the people what your product is. Give them an idea of what
Yes.
they're buying. Give them the confidence to say, I will put my trust and my money in your hands to give me this product that's going to fix whatever problem I have or it's going to make my life better in some way. And you got to push that in through the images mostly, but also in the bullet points if anyone reads them. I don't know if you have metrics on how long Amazon Mexico shoppers spend on a listing, but in the US, it's like 8 seconds. So you have to win them with the images. And this stuff
Yeah.
about Rufus and all this about how it's going to be scraping the listings and looking at the reviews and all this kind of information. Like you really need to start doing this. You should have been doing this, X amount of years ago. But back then, I guess it was all just how many keywords can you fit in your bullet points to rank on. So
I'm actually a huge fan of listings as a shopper when I go in, and they just not even words. Like you have dimensions, and like it's like 2x4x6 and durable, made of stainless steel, and this. I go, yes, you told me exactly. The other ones I'm gonna have to look because how do we shop? We open like I phone shoppers are insane to me. I get that it's most of y'all, but like I don't. I'm too old for that. So I just leave command press down and click on every single listing, and then I just control tab through the tabs, and I go, nope, nope, oh, info, yeah, checkout. That's it. I just assume whenever I'm optimizing a listing that every single person has the ADHD that I have.
that's what you got to assume. That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
a
Who doesn't have
I am a
ADHD?
mobile
It's
shopper. I will
2024.
say. I don't, and even though I'm on my computer all day for work, I don't rarely do I buy things on here. Um, which is maybe I need to make the switch because sometimes I go on my phone and I'll look at things and I'll look at the pictures on there, I'll look at the images, and then I'll purchase. But then it comes in and maybe sometimes it's bad, it's not good. Like we just bought like a new bath mat and it came in and it wasn't really like the fact of the product was bad, but it was just not good quality. So I had to send it back, and it was just like, well,
Yeah,
maybe if I took the time to read more reviews and I could do that easier on my computer, maybe that would have been easier. So it's something to think about there with just looking at that.
you actually. Oh my god, you actually just opened my brain with something. I hadn't thought about this. We have to assume that it's easy to return products.
Mm-hmm.
I had never really considered this until right when you said this. I've never returned a product to Amazon in my life. Like it just,
Wow.
again, I'm 31, but I'm closer to like 71. Like like I've never. And now that you said that, that makes sense. You have to take into account how easy it is to return things, which makes shopping that much more impulsive. And if it doesn't work, I'll return it.
Amazon has that 30-day guarantee. There was a poll, I think someone put up, maybe it was John Aspinall or one of the Johns on LinkedIn, that said, what is the maximum amount of money you would want to spend on an Amazon product? And it was like $0 to $10, 20 to 30, however many, metrics. But the last one was, it doesn't matter. I'll spend whatever amount. And someone commented, said, I'm going to pick the last option because Amazon has a 30-day guarantee return window. As long as I don't mess the product up, I don't care what it is. I'll put that hit on my credit card, not pay it off, and then 30 days later, it gets returned to the card if I return it.
Yeah.
So I know you can buy things like houses and stuff for like 50 grand on Amazon now that come in like those big shipping containers. If you've ever seen those, isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Yeah.
To me, like buying a TV on Amazon felt
Like a lot.
I was like, I need to go see them in person. What am I doing? Because again, I'm 71 almost.
I said the same thing. I guess I'm right up there with you. At around the early 70s, because I see things like on Prime Day. I was looking at electric scooters for fun because I love a good electric scooter.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really want to buy one of these, but the price wasn't the problem. It was the fact that I'm not going to be able to see it in person. Like, I don't know if it's going to be good, and I can trust the reviews, maybe.
I don't know how sturdy it's going to be.
I need to know. I need to feel it. I need to take even like a test drive. I know no one's going to do that for me, but unless I buy them on like Facebook Marketplace. But in any case, it's interesting to think about. Yeah, like I said, the reviews, like the products are so much easier to buy because you can return them. Like that impulse is easier.
I knew someone that sold. Here's something that's insane. I knew someone that sold wedding rings on Amazon. That to me just blew my mind.
They were the quality rings?
No, they were like $3,000 rings. Like, and I was like, I'm sorry, like if I'm gonna spend $3,000 on a wedding ring, I'm going to look at them in person.
Dang, yeah.
But they were doing it, and then they were like, and then they were mad. They're like, I don't get why we don't sell more. I was like, because who? Yeah, think about your shopper. Like that's it. Think about your shopper. I wouldn't buy it on your website, but if you have a store, I'll go there. I'll go to a jeweler, but yeah.
That's
anyway,
crazy.
Think about your shopper more. I think that's what I'll always say. Think about your shopper more.
Oh, I can't believe it. That's it's just very interesting to think about what people sell on Amazon. And I've seen some pretty pricey things, of course, like everyone else. But I don't know, man, to have that many items or to have items that are that high, I just think that just sounds like, oh man, I don't know if I trust that.
No, thank you. Like, yeah, literally. And just we're way off topic. I know we have to close this out, but another place to never buy wedding rings is a pawn shop, because I walked by a pawn shop and I saw the wedding rings. And I was like, those are really cheap. Like, I don't get it. Like, why wouldn't you buy them and flip them? And then I was told they were like, because that probably has some bad juju on it. Like, don't. What are you? I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was being silly. So anyway, I don't think that even matters. We should probably cut that out. But
maybe. But anyway, I agree with that. I think it's it depends on what you're looking at. You really got to look at the shopper. You got to understand your market, and that's where things like obviously the Helium 10 and the Jungle Scouts and the Carbon 6s come in. But it really matters on who you're selling to and what marketplace they're in. So
seriously, understand your shopper. That's number one. Think about it. Go to the store, like put yourself in their shoes. Go browse through your own listing. Would you buy your own product?
Like I said, like the economy example of talk to your friends. Have your friends go and look and say, would you buy this? Honestly, if you need something like this.
We do that at the office. We'll ask for send me a sample, and then we get a sample, and then I give it around, and I'm like, hey, does anyone want to try this? Like, even like the co-working space at us, well, like we just walk down, talk to everyone, and be like, hey, do you want to try this? Everyone's my friend already, so it's like I'm just the guy that gives out free stuff. And they go, oh my god, how much is this? And you go, this much. Oh my god, it's so cheap. Go higher. I would totally buy. Oh, cool. Hey, yeah, this will work. Send it over. Like,
yeah, get it down here. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Well, Ramiro, I want to thank you a lot for coming on today and really, again, participating in this great discussion that we've had. I want to give you a chance to share any final thoughts about entering into Amazon Mexico or anything we talked about today for our viewers really take in from our episode.
Sweet. No, Pete, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This was such a good vibe. I think if you will allow me to chop a bunch of clips and post them online, I would really like that, because this was just honestly such a enjoyable conversation. Um, yeah, I mean, I think look at the Mexican market, work through us, don't work through us, just look at the market. I haven't said anything about what we do. We bring products in uh, and use our permits, and
You help them get started.
we make it happen.
You
Yeah,
make it happen.
but even if do it on your own, do it through NARF at least. Like, you have to be looking at a potential extra source of revenue being just literally across the border. Like, it's right there. So yeah, if anyone wants to chat with me, you can reach out via LinkedIn. You can go to goavance.com. That's goavanc.com. And hang out and contact us. I have the hubris to have my calendar open. So
Smart.
probably not going to be for much longer. It's getting a little bit hectic, but shoot me an email, a message, like, and I'll gladly just be like, hey, yeah, this probably won't work, or hey, yeah, this is actually a pretty good op. Like, I just like helping both our clients and our customers here in Mexico. So,
And the economy. Yeah.
Yeah, and the economy, exactly. Like, imagine I can get to a point where I'm like a substantial sort of like a 0.01%
In the Mexican economy.
to the economy. I'll be so proud of myself. I'd be like, look what I did for you. So
That'd be a big win. I love to hear it. Like I said, we're the same way. Honesty, sometimes even if it's a little bit hurtful, is the right way to go, because that way you don't maybe mess up or you don't regret it later on. So. But I will also have Ramiro's LinkedIn profile and his website in the YouTube description down below. So feel free to click on those to hit him up and chat about maybe getting you into your next phase on Amazon. It could be Amazon Mexico. So cool. Yeah. And if you like this content and if you enjoyed our discussion, make sure to like this video and subscribe to hear me talk to even more interesting people. And thank you again, Ramiro, for being one of those interesting people that come on and talk to me about just any Amazon topic.
It's my pleasure, Pete. Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for watching. I'm Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.